Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I'm Dominic Copeland, and this is the Ish that needs to be said. Can't stop, won't stop. Let's go. So, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Together, let's take this wonderful journey. This is the day that we win, my friends. This is the day that we win. This is the day that we win. We will not stop. We cannot stop until we reach the promised land. What is the promised land? Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the promised land is and more about the woke nightmare. This is going to be the woke nightmare part 2. So the promised land, what it is, and the woke nightmare part 2. Strap in and let's go. Strap in, strap on, whatever you got to do, and let's go, my friends. Let's go. Oh, man. The promised land. Promised land isn't a place, right? Not necessarily. The promised land is from within. When Moses went up the mountain after freeing the slaves of Egypt, came down with what? God could have gave Moses GPS directions. Turn left at the burning bush, go right, go up the hill. There's the promised land. But instead, God gave Moses what? Commandments. 2 tablets full of commandments. Moses came down and he saw what the people were doing, all the debauchery. People having orgies and all kinds of crazy things, broke one of the tablets. Said, this is outrageous. I can't believe this. But on the other one, the 10 Commandments, they were spiritual laws, not directions of where to go, but spiritual directions of how to get there. You can only get to the promised land through who you become, through your spiritual growth and enlightenment. And then you're able to create the land of promise, because that promised land is awaiting within. But we can only tap into it. We can only be given the gifts that come along with it by being the right people to utilize it. If we are not the right people, then we can not be given the gifts of enlightenment, because we are not enlightened, and we will not use them that way. We'll use them to the ends that we previously know, just like the people of the former slaves of Egypt coming out and not understanding, okay, we got this freedom. What do we do with it? Oh, let's do all the things that we couldn't do before. Let's celebrate with our bodies. Let's have all the sex we want. Let's do all the things that are base level humanity. Instead of uplifting, uprising, instead of saying, you know what happened to us wasn't right. How do we change it? How do we create a world that is better? How do we create a place that is better than the place that we've been before? A place where there are freedoms for everybody. A place where there is enlightenment. A place where the human being has a journey and a purpose. And they wake up each and every day living in that purpose, using their God-given gifts and talent to make a difference within themselves, others, and the world around them. Using their God-given talents to make a difference within themselves, others, and the world around them. I had to tighten up my headgear so I can hear it clear too. Whew. My friends, we have yet to reach the land of promise, and I'm not sure that we will reach it, because we have not yet enlightened ourselves. We have not risen above and beyond the physical. We have not risen above and beyond lack, above and beyond our meager conceptions of wealth. Power is not in what we take. It is in what we give and what we build and what we contribute. If you just take, believing that there's only a certain amount of the pie that everyone can have, and you want to have the biggest slice and leave everyone else with the least, you have not grown humanity. You have lessened it. because there's enough here in this world, enough resources in this world and beyond for everyone, and then some. There is no lack. There is no lack. We just believe that there is. And we create a world where there is. When there is not, my friends. There is not. There's that needs to be said, and all the things that I wish that we knew already. But we're getting there, right? We're getting there. Hopefully. But I don't come from a place of hope. I come from a place of faith. I don't dance with hope. I fly with faith. I don't walk in fear. I soar in belief. So if you want to soar with me, if you want to fly high, if you want to get to where the places you want to get to and don't need any drugs to do it, come along this journey. Let's go together through the ish that needs to be said. The promised land, my friend, is not a place that we fight over and kill each other for. We don't need to fight each other, kill each other for. Because we all contribute and add to the great riches of that promised land. And we all have our own promised land, our own land to promise, where we're utilizing our gifts and talents to make a difference within ourselves, the world, and others around us. And we're creating and we're building. We're illuminating. Our lights are shining bright. Not for all the world to see, not for us to have a sense of importance, but because that's who we are, and our lights allow everyone else, or call everyone else to have their light shine also. We don't have to be fearful of it. We don't have to be ashamed. We don't have to be jealous of someone's light shining bright, because we got the same light, and your light will shine bright in its own beautiful way. It's allowed to be so. In whatever area or genre you're in, or whatever type of lifestyle, you don't have to be a CEO or president. That's not necessarily light shining bright. That's just them trying to be important. Sometimes trying to make everything less instead of giving more. World is not what we think it is or what we've been told that it is. My friends, we literally create something out of nothing. This microphone did not exist previously until someone constructed it within their minds. And then they built it. They put in the pieces to make it work. They had to construct and build those. All the things within here did not previously exist. They were engineered. They were created. They were fathomed from our minds. That's the power that we have. I've spoken about this before, but I'll speak about it again and again and again and again. And I'll keep talking about it until we get it, until we understand it, and until we live it. That's the most important part. We got to live these things, for goodness sakes. We got to live this, because this is who we should be, not what we've been told that we are. Because what we've been told that we are is less than who we truly are. What we've been told that we are is less than what we truly are. The greatest promise lies within inside of us. The promise that we can create, that we can change, that the earth, the world here, is our playground. Not for us to play and destroy things, but for us to build, to grow, to create, to manifest. This is our planet. This is the fertile soil that we've been given. But that fertile soil first must grow within our minds so that beautiful things can come from it, and that we can reconstruct those things here within our own reality. You may think that's crazy. A lot of people do when I say it. But I'm not sure how you can, because everything that's within this world, the house that you're living in right now, the place you are listening to this from, how you're listening to this, none of it existed previously until someone created it within their minds and had the capabilities of doing so. We have the capability of creation. Do not let others corner the market on creation. Apple doesn't own creation. I love Apple products and so forth, but They don't own creation. Samsung doesn't own creation. Love their products as well. But someone had to create that for them to be able to put it out. Just like in our own lives, it's up to us to create. It's up to us, my friends. You have the power within you. When are you going to start to use it? You have the power within you. When are you going to start to use it? Whatever you want out of this life, good or bad, you can create and generate. Often, we create and generate the things we don't want because that's what our focus is. Focus on what you want, not on what you don't. That's how you win. That's how you win. And all the things that come in your way that you feel like are trying to stop you, I talked about this before, but they're not trying to stop you. They're actually stepping stones to your success, allowing you to become the person you need to be to achieve the things that you desire. That's the power that we have. My friends, it would scare you, terrify you if you knew how truly powerful you are, because your capability to contribute is beyond measure. Beyond measure. Your capability to contribute is beyond measure. And that is the greatest power you can ever have. God is all powerful because God's ability to contribute, to build, to grow, God's imagination, limitless. Limitless. There are no limits. But first, in order to realize that promised land, you have to have the moral capabilities to use that power. Because if not, you'll only destroy. Once we have that moral aptitude, all will be given. The promise will start to be fulfilled. Those capabilities will be fully unlocked. Until we do that, it would be negligent and irresponsible for us to be allowed into that part of ourselves, because that power tear the world apart when we're supposed to be building it up. We don't have to worry about any of the conditions of the world because we can change them because we have the power and capability to do so. We just have to realize it and have the moral fortitude to be the people to be able to have those gifts, those powers, so that we, instead of destroying the world, instead of creating atom bombs, we create things that bring us together and strengthen and grow our resources so that we no longer have to fight over resources, so that we can be part of not just global trade, but intergalactic trade, my friends. Trade well beyond what we understand trade to be. That's my message for the promised land. Take it or leave it. Think it's crazy or not. But the reality of the situation is far beyond what you understand it to be. Just do as I'm telling you to do, and all will be opened up. That I promise. That I promise. But it's just like a vehicle. You have to learn how to drive, how to responsibly utilize that vehicle, because if not, you can end your own life for the life of others, and how you utilize that vehicle. Right? It's that needs to be said, my friends. I'm telling you. It's a different time, different place, different dimension. We're going different places, right? We're opening up things that you didn't even know that we could open up. We're opening up doors that you didn't even know were there. We're going through avenues, alleyways, spaces you didn't even know existed. Come along for the journey. You might amaze yourself. Oh boy, here we go. The Woke Nightmare Part 2. I talked about this before, the woke nightmare. How can you be awake but still dreaming? I'll tell you how. Audre Lorde said, the tools of the master, I repeat that, the tools of the master will never dismantle the master's house. The tools of the master will never dismantle the master's house. The tools of the master will never dismantle. Never dismantle the master's house. What does that mean? Are we talking about literal slavery? We're talking about that much more. And I even go further to say, whoever uses the tools of the master to build the house, then themselves becomes the master of that house. Whoever uses the tools of the master to build that house, then becomes the master of that house. So, if I'm trying to find freedom, if I'm trying to change the way that things have been done, if I'm trying to change the power structure, but I utilize the tools of those who have been empowered to do so, then liberation will escape me, and I will find myself becoming the master, just as those who once were master over me, I will now be the master over others. They will not be free. They will be indebted to me. What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, this is what it means. There's a difference between, my friends, inclusion and assimilation. I'll give you an example. I talked about this before, but when we come to pronouns, right? We go to meetings and everything else, and they say, everyone give your pronouns. And I said I have no problems with the pronouns. I know I'm secure on myself and everything. I don't have any issues with that, right? And have no issues with everyone else being, pronounced as the way that they want to be. If you're masculine facing, but you go by her, if you're feminine facing, but you go by he, whatever it is, that's your personal preference. Don't have an issue with that. God bless you. I'm happy for you that you can live your truth, right? Whatever that truth is for you, I'm happy for you that you can live it. But let's question if it's right to make that the truth for everybody. And is that inclusive? And I say that because there was a young black woman who didn't want to identify pronoun-wise. I believe that she was lesbian. I know she had a girlfriend, baby, and everything with the girlfriend. So all this other stuff, it's not really my business. Whatever your life is. I'm happy for you. I just hope you're happy and you're living a good life. So she never wanted to utilize those pronouns. She said, I just want to be called by this. This is fine. And then other people would say, well, why don't you? It's rude kind of not to give your pronouns. And she was like, it's doing too much. I never said I wanted to give my pronouns. Who said that I wanted to do that? I'm comfortable the way I am and how people already view me. I don't need my pronouns to do that. And I realized the tools of the master will never dismantle the master's house. If we're trying to utilize inclusion, we need the tools of inclusion, not the tools that other people use to condition us to do what they wanted. Because if we say everyone has to say their pronouns, is that inclusive? Or is that changing the way that things are done to condition us to a different way? And I'm not saying conditioned in a bad way. I'm just saying we were conditioned that things went by this way. Now it's no, it's going to go by this way. Is that freedom? Is that inclusion? Or is that assimilation? You have to be assimilated into this way of thinking, and we cannot veer from it. But if it's inclusive, it's not about all of us coming together with our different perspectives, our different views, our different thoughts, respecting each other, caring for each other, but being able to be us, uniquely us, at the same time. And bring that to the table, bring that to the group, to not shrink the group, not confine the group, but to grow the group. Isn't that what inclusion's about? Or is it just about flipping the paradigm so that the people that were on the outside can now be on the inside, and the people that were on the inside can now be on the outside? That's not what I bought into. I never said I want to trade one master for another. Why the hell would I want to do that? I never said that. The young black woman that was talking about pronouns and not feeling comfortable utilizing those wasn't saying that either. Why are you going to make me do this when they before made me do this that I ain't going to do? But now you're going to include me, but say, oh, no, you have to be included in this way. This is inclusive now. But you got to do what we tell you to do. It's like, well, the other people did the same thing, or they just kept me out of it altogether. So now I'm just trading one master for another, but it's not growth. It's not enlightenment. The tools of the masters can't build this house and say, now we are free. The tools of the master will always say, our minds are enslaved to this way of thinking, that we must think this way. We must do this way. We must be this way. As I said before, you must stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. No matter what you've gone through within this country, no matter what has happened. Now, regardless of what you think about that, Pledge of Allegiance, there are people who fought for and died for this country and didn't have the rights and the freedoms that they should have had, that should have been granted to them. People who came back, Black Americans who came back after World War II. They fought for the country bravely. They won awards and medals. And not just World War II, even before then. Buffalo Soldiers. People through Spanish-American wars and other things that charged up hills in front of the people that would then be declared the victors and the heroes, that would have the pictures taken. They charged into the most dangerous situations. Like the movie Glory, they charged into a situation they could not win. But they did it to show who they were and what they were about. You can't ask someone to pledge allegiance to you if you have not pledged allegiance to them. If you're not giving them the same resources. And we know throughout this country that has not been the case. So, when I look at it, one of the biggest problems that we're having within our country, when we have people, you can say, you call them conservatives, and you say you have these ultra liberals or them, whatever you want to call them, you know, there's always going to be a name for something other than you. Some other group that you don't specify with, so you call them this. But hopefully you don't demonize and vilify them like we have today. So one side villainizes the other side. And neither side is right or seeing it from the perspective of what it can be or what it is. Sometimes it's just personality conflicts. And sometimes a lot of times it's because one group is trying to use the tools of the master to change things. But then what happens is they're saying the other group, now you have to do what we say. You have to act the way that we say that you would act. You have to believe in the things that we said, like we had to believe in the things that you said in order to participate. But that was never the goal. Was it? Was it? Am I missing something? Am I missing something? Because the goal never was for it to be all one or the other. For it to be all conservative, all liberal, all male, all female. You said it was all male, it's wrong. So now you flip it to be all female. How is that right? Well, these females are more morally conscious, morally better than those men. Huh? What? That's not something I agree with or bought into. I don't agree that one or the other is the best option. That wasn't the goal. Me as a black man, I've never had that, oh, I'm in charge. I have the power. I mean, can you imagine that? Just think for a second. And we said, okay, now it's all, because this is a major fear that people have. And one of the reasons why, if there's more than one black person that gets into something, into a position of power, like, whoa, we got to stop this. Too many. One's too many, two's too much. And that is because a fear and a worry, and now it's becoming not with black people, but in some other groups, what's coming a reality is the whole time we weren't saying that what you were doing was wrong. We were saying that you're doing it to us we didn't like and we didn't want. So we wanted to be on the inside. So now we can do the same things that you were doing, but we do it to you. We're all supposed to be collaborating and in this together. So now the mindsets of before aren't the mindsets that we want to have now, right? We're changing those. So different people get in with the different mindsets. But it doesn't have to be, imagine if it was just, oh no, all black people. All black people can now do what all white people were able to do previously. Can be in positions of power, can be the 10% or the 1%. We're changing that now. How would you feel about that? Would you be like, this is what we signed up for? This is right? How did this happen, you probably say? We didn't think that this is what it was going to be about or what it was for. But it becomes about that. And now that's not what's happening with black folk. That's not what we're trying to do. So relax, everybody. Relax. Don't get upset. You don't need to come for us. We're in this together, right? High School Musical time. We're all in this together. Relax. Take it easy. The biggest thing is the tools of the master will never dismantle the master's house. But we don't know the tools of freedom and liberation. We don't know the tools of collaboration. We don't know what inclusion looks like. So we keep utilizing the tools of the master to build the same house, but just saying different people can be involved in running that house. Okay. That's not inclusion. That's not enlightenment. That's not betterment for everybody. You're supposed to get in and show other people, okay, this is how it should have been done. This is how we can all still prosper and benefit. There's not a lack. There's not less. There is more. And we all have to work together to achieve that more. And we can do that. I'm not your master. I am your friend. I am your brother. I am your human being, your co-human being here on this planet called Earth. And we are together in this journey, whether that journey be a struggle, because at sometimes, in some points, it will be. But we work together to rise above and beyond that struggle, because that struggle is only providing for our upliftment. That struggle comes in direct correlation to what we desire to have, be, and do. Or I should say be, do, and have. As Stephen Covey said, in order to get what you want, you must first become that. Do the things that person does who has those things, and then you'll have those things that you wanted. But if we're talking about liberation, if we're talking about inclusion, how can we become inclusive? What things do we need to do to be inclusive, to grant equity, empowerment to all, so that we can have the society that we say we desire to have. How can we accomplish these things? Again, how can we be truly inclusive so that we can grant equity and empowerment to all, so that we can be the society that we say we are, that we say we desire to be, where we all have opportunities, where we all can live a decent life, a great life, without fear or worry of inflation coming to bite us. That's absurd, my friends. I'll say this, that's absurd. If everyone has enough money, and we're just going through a period where not everyone had enough money to live a good life. There was more homeless on the streets than before. But there was inflation. Inflation. Prices had to skyrocket. And there's people sleeping on the streets. That's absurd. And if that's the financial situation we're in, if that's our economic situation that we live from, it's not a good one. And it needs to be changed and abolished to something better. So what is that better? What does it look like? What is a financial system that we can live within that all can prosper without there being detrimental inflation or increasing of prices that keep us all from being able to prosper? It's like, say, okay, this costs $1. You make $2 a week. Oh, now you make $4 a week. Oh, I'm going to raise this up to $2 now. That's inflation. I don't think it makes sense. You cannot use the tools of the master to dismantle the master's house. You will only create another master's house that will all have to live under those conditions. So all the women leaders out there, I just believe you're leaders. Let's make sure it's not. I think one time they were asked about the Supreme Court, how many women on the Supreme Court is enough? And they said all. All the women on the Supreme Court are, all the people on the Supreme Court are women. And I understand that sentiment. I understand where that comes from, because it was allowable for all the members on the Supreme Court to be men and no woman to be allowed. So then now they're saying it's our time. But we all agreed when it was all men, it wasn't right. It wasn't the way it's supposed to be. But now we're going to say, hey, let's just change that dynamic so that it's all women. If we were to do that, and that's right. That's the way it's supposed to be. I'm not sure the math is mathing on that one. Isn't it supposed to be a diverse Supreme Court that represents the interests and the faces of our nation? Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing? Isn't that, my friends, inclusion, empowerment, equity? So let's not get caught up in wanting what we want. Let's want what's best for all of us, for our society as a whole and what we're trying to accomplish. Let's want that. And let's all work together towards that, not having worry or fear that I'm not going to have, because I know I'm looking out for you, you're looking out for me, and we want to make sure our society thrives and that all are able to benefit from the thriving of that society, not just a few. Because when you look that way, when you think that way, there's always going to be someone outsmarting you in the game. Because those are the rules that you're playing by. And then there's always going to be someone, that 10%, that 1%, and everybody else on the outside. That 10% that controls 90%, 90% only controls 10%. The tools of the master are deeply ingrained within us, and now we have to figure out the tools for inclusion. What are they? I'm challenging you. What are they? Tell me. What do we need to do to lead to equity? to lead to empowerment for all the citizens of the United States of America? What do we need to do? So all the different groups, all the different cultures here can be represented, can have an opportunity to participate, an opportunity to thrive. What do we need to do? It's not rhetorical. It's not rhetorical. Let's get out of our own way. Let's stop fighting each other as we the people. Stop the nonsense. Come together and build a better tomorrow for ourselves and our children and our children's children. What we do now today, what we do today will last the next 1,000 years or more. What we do today will last the next 1,000 years or more. What the hell are we going to do? My name is Dominic Copeland, and this is the Ish That Needs to Be Said. Hit the like button, subscribe, and start answering to the question that I'm asking you. What are we going to do? Stay tuned. I'm not going to stop asking, and it's time for you to start answering. Let's rise. I'll talk to you soon. Hit the like button, subscribe. Let's build this community. Come together. Let's change this world for the better. The next 1,000 years are waiting for us. They're looking back to us saying, what are you going to do? Let's answer them by doing it, by being it, by doing it, by having it. God bless everyone. Talk to you soon. The Ish That Needs to Be Said.